All right, welcome everyone back to the Touchline podcast. It's not your regular podcast today. It's not a sports podcast. We're reintroducing the Touchline After Hours. Basically, for those of you who don't know, it's a podcast where we're going to where it's real talk, no sports talk at all, where we get guests on that share their stories and have a yarn. Look, today we've got a familiar face on. Joey's been on our podcast a couple times now. Joey's releasing a book. It's called Beyond Limits, Unlock Your Potential. It's coming out soon, guys. You don't want to miss it, so stay tuned. Joey, it's always a pleasure having you on, man.
Bill, thanks for having me, bro.
Of course, man. Look, I want to get straight into your book, man. What was your inspiration in writing Beyond Limits, Unlock Your Potential?
Look, it definitely wasn't part of the plan to begin with. I've always had a connection with the youth. For some reason, I connect with them. I've been told many times that I have this aura about me where they just listen. And it's evident when, I was a coach of an under-14 team years ago. So I wanted the career change. And I was going into your motivational speaking profession, where I go from school to school, sporting organisation, team to team, reaching as many youth as I can and just helping them, guiding them, on their path from becoming basically from boy to man. And as I've mentioned previously, I have one of my really close mentors. His advice to me was, you need to write your story. You need to put it in a book. You need to gain credibility. You need to be known as an author, which will obviously help me build the foundation on my way to being a motivational speaker.
Yeah, so about your book, man. So for your everyday listener, reader, what would they find in your new book?
Okay, so in the book, it's like a sort of a semi, autobiography. Then it goes into like a self-help book. So the beginning chapters I obviously talk about my footy career, my mentor, and the impact he had on myself and my teammates, the changes he made, the contracts he implemented, the success we had underneath, his reign. Then I go into, when I coached my boys and me just replicating that system that my mentor undertook with us. And then the other half of the book goes into, what does a kid need? What does a teenager need to implement in their own life to be able to succeed? Whether it's on a sporting field, whether it's in a classroom, whether it's in life in general.
Yeah, man, you got one hell of a story. Just behind the scenes when you've inspired me with a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
I like the stories with those boys and just your whole life story, and needs to be written down. And I'm so glad that you have. Really proud of you, Joe, in that way,
Bill,
man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
When did you start writing? What was the process in writing it? Was it hard for you to write?
So hard.
How long did it take you to write?
So hard. It was about like an 18-month process. Yeah. Obviously, because I run my own business, it wasn't like I had the luxury of locking myself away into a room for 8 hours of a day. So I needed to find my time in my spare time where I could remove myself away from my two girls who we have a great connection. Like, they love our time together. Yeah. So for me to be able to get that alone time and not have the girls bother me, that was a bit challenging as well. So a lot of my writing was done, like after midnight. So when the girls went to bed, I was writing from between 1 to 4, 5 in the morning, then getting up and running my business. So it was an 18-month process. So hard, bro. I'm not a writer. I took advanced English in HSC years. So like English has been, a strong point for me throughout my whole life. But to sit there and write, and I don't know if you've ever heard the term writer's block.
Yeah.
Mate, there was many times where I'm just staring at the paper. I had so much to say. I just didn't know how to throw it onto a piece of paper. But thankfully, with a few techniques that I researched and picked up on, and that helped me get through it.
And I've heard you say on the emotional side of it, you were healing as you were writing this book.
Oh, immensely. And again, I didn't know, like, I haven't written a book. I didn't know what I was going to go through, how I was going to handle it. But I found as I was talking about my era, my mentor, I was healing myself as I was writing. You know, there was times where I was crying. There was times, you know, if I reminisced, you know, in a moment, I would burst out laughing. There was times where I would get so proud because I would remember a moment. You know, there's a particular moment where I kick a goal from the sideline after the siren to win my team the game.
Wow.
You know, moments like that where, you know, brought back some emotions. So, yeah.
And you've mentioned your mentor. At a young age, unfortunately, you lost him. And I'm sure you, as you said, you mentioned it in your book, and as you were writing it, you were healing, and that was your way, you know, to cover up those wounds. And we've talked about this behind the scenes, how much he meant to. Look, I don't feel like I personally know much about your mentor. If you wanted to give a backstory in your relationship with him, like, you know, his name, you know, just how did you guys meet?
Yeah. Look, I don't want to. I won't mention his name.
Okay. Yeah.
Only due to the fact that I want to respect his family.
100%.
You know, at one stage when we were younger and he was around, his family was basically like my family. You know, he had 4 other brothers that I classified, they were like my brothers. He's got, you know, two other sisters as well. So yeah, I won't mention his name, but I can definitely talk about, you know, who he was as a person. And for me, he did leave a legacy. You know, he definitely left us with memories. But at the start, he was just a footy coach, like any other coach, you could say.
Yeah.
I met him in under 12s, so I was 11 years old at the time. It was his first year of coaching. And again, my team, you know, so that was my first year of rugby league as well. So I've come from soccer.
Okay.
I played soccer for 6 years.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
So my parents didn't at the start allow me to play rugby league.
Yeah.
So I've come from soccer, played for De La Salle Bankstown, which was a club I don't think they're even around anymore.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
Our home ground was Middleton Oval on the Hume Highway, where the speed camera is in Yaguna.
Is that next to Three Swallows? Oh, no, that's
No, it's further up.
further up.
Yeah, near Bass Hill Public School.
Oh, okay, I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
so that was my stomping ground for soccer.
Yeah.
I always had passion for rugby league. I was never allowed to play it.
Yeah.
You know, my mum got worried. You know, she would get worried I'll hurt myself.
Yeah.
And so then my brother transitioned from soccer to rugby league first.
Yeah.
My brother James. So when he started playing footy, I think it made my transition easier. So my parents allowed me to play. So under 12s was my first year. Like I said, he was just a coach at the beginning, but so quickly he became much more.
Yeah.
He took a liking to me. He saw this hunger in me. For some reason, I just wanted to make him proud. I didn't know this guy from a bar of soap. I didn't know how to play rugby league either. But every time he just had a way of talking, and every time he asked us to do something, it was like I needed to do it, and I needed to be the first one to do it. So before I became a great football player, I was actually a great trainer.
Wow.
So at training, I was first in all the drills, or the fitness drills, your sprinting drills. I just wanted to impress him.
Yeah.
And then that's where our bond started. That's where the connection occurred. He could see that I was hungry, and then he just started putting his time into me to the point where my mum stopped dropping me off to training.
Oh.
So he would come pick me up. He had a little red Holden Barina. He would come pick me up. So he would actually take me to training and bring me back home. And there was a lot of talks in those cars. You know, a lot of chats telling me what he wanted from me, what he needed from me, what I needed to do, how to become a better player. And his guidance wasn't just on the football field. He took an interest in me and what was happening off the field.
Yeah.
In my schooling, my family home. He was just one amazing soul.
A lot of similarities to the story we're going to get to with you and the boys you coached 10 years ago. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But in terms of your mentor, you're just saying more, he taught you off the field. You know, he took a liking to you, like he was interested in what you're doing off the field and just just your everyday things outside the field. What did he teach you that transcended the footy field in terms of mindset, in terms of the way you are today?
Look, the biggest thing, respect was so huge for him. It's something I implemented with my boys, and I make it very clear the success I had as a coach with my boys didn't come down to me being a great coach. I've never coached before, don't know how to coach, don't know the first thing about coaching. All I did was just replicate the system that he had used, 16 years beforehand. So discipline was the biggest thing for him. Respect, attitude. It was all at training. He didn't care what happened on game day. Game day was just the end result. But to get to that end result, you had foundations that needed to be built. There were steps leading to game day, whether we won game day or lost game day. He was huge on respect, attitude, and discipline. There's one story that comes to mind. So this was third year of coaching. So we've won a grand final with him. Then the second year we lost the grand final. Then it was in the third year we were undefeated first 10 rounds. We ended up winning that year undefeated.
Wow.
But that year, so it was we went to an Australia test match. Again, he'd done a lot of things with us away from football. He spent a lot of his money and a lot of his time on the team, things that he didn't have to do. So he's bought us all tickets to the Australia-New Zealand test match. It was at Homebush. We go to the game. Sorry, not Homebush. It was Sydney Football Stadium. We go to the game. Anyway, we're on a team bus. And he kept saying, if any of you are smartasses, you're not playing this week. And we had a big game that week against Greenacre, who was our arch rivals. If you're smartasses, you're not playing this week. Anyway, as a young kid, where do you sit? Where do the cool kids sit? They always sit at the back of the bus, right? So I'm at the back of the bus with one of my mates, gun half, Joey Philippe. I still in close contact with him till today. We're at the back being smartasses. And he turned to us and he goes, two Joeys, I'm telling ya, keep going, you won't play today. And because we thought, like by that stage, I was already in the Bulldog system. I was a Canterbury rep. Joey was a Canterbury rep. Like we were the guns of the team. I was your gun centre that would score tries. Joey Philippe was the try assist gun 5'8" that could throw a cutout ball 20 metres and hit you on the chest. So we thought we were bigger and better than the game, than our coach, than our team. We go to the game, smartasses at the game, smartasses after the game. We're on the way home. We're just about to get home. He goes, you two, you will see. I'll show you who's the boss. Game day comes, bro. Doesn't play us.
Wow.
He calls the team list out. Yep, Yusuf fullback. Yep, Nad's wing. Yep, Rob wing. Calls out the centres. No Joey Marroun. Calls out the halves. No Joey Philippe. Gives us a bench number. I'll never forget. I was number 14. Joey Philippe was number 16. And we're on the bench going, this guy's serious. Like, this is a big game. And he's dropped us, which we thought he would never do. Mate, I was in tears that whole game.
Well,
on the bench watching my mates play.
Yeah.
I didn't get to play 1 minute that game.
Wow.
He didn't even put me on in the second half. We won the game, and that was a big lesson for me. And that lesson was, with or without me, my team can win. I'm not such a hot shot.
Yeah. Because you're in that junior system, as you said. You know, you'd start, you know, someone like you or Joey. You know,
100%, and you'd think that, you know, we would be walk-ins.
Yeah, exactly.
And in any other club in our grade, would be walk-ins, and not only walk-ins, but they'll probably make us club captain.
Yeah.
But for my coach, he didn't care who you were, where you came from, what stripes you had, what runs you had on the board, what your resume looked like. If you didn't show respect, you weren't part of his plans.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, he passed away. How old were you when he passed away?
I was 14 years old.
Now, for a 14-year-old kid, you know, as you said, he had a great impact on your life, even at 14. Like, not a lot of people have that mentor at 14.
Yeah.
Now, how did that impact you and your career going forward?
I wish I knew how to deal with it better. And let me make it clear, I've come from a solid home. You know, I've come from a hard-working father who provided for us, gave us the best of everything. He was present.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't like I had a father figure missing,
Yeah.
you know, from my life. I had an older brother who was also, like, growing up, even though he would shrug me off at times, because obviously, like, when I was 12, there's a 6-year gap.
Yeah.
So when I was 12, he was 18.
Yeah.
Right? So I was never part of his plans, you know, because obviously he's 18,
Yeah.
clubbing, going out with his mates. What would you want your 12-year-old brother to do, right?
Yeah.
So there was that gap there. But again, older brother was present in the sense where the love and support was there. So it wasn't like I latched onto my coach because I was lacking male influences.
Yeah.
It's just he showed me a side that I had never been showed before.
And it's especially tough with like ethnic parents that don't show their emotions in that
Well,
way.
100%.
Yeah,
so my dad growing up, I'd never heard him say, "I love you, son."
Yeah.
Right? Obviously it doesn't mean he doesn't love me.
It's just the way.
That's just how they were built.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something you do.
Yeah.
You know, even when my parents were big supporters, especially my father with my rugby league career.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't miss a game. And not only would he not miss my games, but say, for example, my kickoff is 1:30 p.m. He would rock up to the ground at 9 a.m.
Wow.
And he would watch all the lower grades leading up to my game.
Wow.
He just loved footy.
Yeah.
So I can't fault my father in regards to his support of my career. But obviously, like an import, he didn't have much input. He couldn't tell me, "Oh, son, look, you had a good game, but, you know, in this instance, you ran the wrong line, you know, or you need to work on your handling errors, or that tackle that you missed was because, you know, you were leading off the wrong foot." Like, he couldn't give me technical advice. Yeah. So obviously that's where my coach had that edge. So he was bettering my game. So obviously that gave us that connection where I would feed off every word he would say to me. But because he showed interest off the field, that's what really drew me to him.
Yeah.
And he was no longer just my coach. You know, that's what, and again, you need to understand, at the time when you're 14 years old, you don't know the word mentor.
Yeah.
It's just now looking back, you realize, yes, he was my mentor.
Yeah.
That's what a mentor does.
Exactly.
Everything he done for me was what a mentor is supposed to do.
Yeah. Now, if your mentor was here today, what would he say to present day Joey? What would he think of present day Joey? Because you're truly a product of him. Like, we know, as you're saying about your dad was always there, but also you have that other figure on the side, which was your mentor. He taught you everything he knew. He taught you discipline, as you're saying, respect. What would he think of present day Joey? Writing a book, you know?
Look, I think if he was here today, I know he would be proud.
Yeah.
Because, you know, this is the path that I feel he was walking at the time. He loved us boys. It wasn't just about footy. He just wasn't a coach. I've been coached by many people. You know, I've been coached by Canterbury greats. You know, I've been coached by people that are coaching rep footy now, like they're coaching Parramatta, SG Ball, Harold Matt's divisions. Yeah. So very cluey, switched on coaches. I've been coached by the worst and by the best. No one done it like him. No one came close. So he would be proud because I'm sort of implementing what he taught me. Yeah. But in saying that, he would have been very disappointed in me for a very long time because I moved away from what he taught me.
Yeah.
So when he passed away, it really hurt. And unfortunately, that was the first real death that I had faced. And I don't think the people around me realised how important he was to me. Because I think if they realised how important he was to me, they would have showed a bit more support. But because to the external people, it was just a footy coach. So, this kid should be right because it's not his dad, it's not his brother, it's not his cousin, uncle, grandfather. So he should be good. So I was battling demons at a very young age on my own. I remember the school offering us a counsellor to our team when he passed. Obviously, we didn't take that up because in the late 90s, again, it was perceived as being weak.
Exactly.
If you spoke to a counsellor, it was perceived you were weak if you cried. I couldn't cry at home. I couldn't open up to anyone. Yeah. So when he passed away, he had given me enough to get my foot through the door as a rep player. Yeah. He had turned me into an absolute gun of a player. So when I look back now, when I look at my under 15, 16s, all the way through to 21, I wasn't playing with respect. I had a very shit attitude when I was playing, and I had no discipline. I had a very foul mouth. I got into a lot of brawls on the field and off the field. Yeah. Mate, there was things I was doing that I can guarantee you, if he was still my coach, I wouldn't have played the following week.
Wow.
I know he would have hooked me off. There's one particular game. We had a scrum 40 metres out from the opposition line. It was our ball. So we're always taught you got to talk in defence.
Yeah.
So my opposite number points at me and he's like, I've got headgear, because I used to wear a headgear.
Yeah.
He goes, I've got headgear. And I started laughing. I go, you think you got headgear? So they're still packing the scrum. I go, you think you've got headgear? I go, brother, I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to step off my left. I'm going to step off my right. I go, I'm going to run a ring around you and I'm going to score underneath the sticks. So sure enough, they pack the scrum. Halfback feeds it, gives it to the 5'8". 5'8" gives it to me. So I'd already warned the 5'8", give me early ball. Yeah. No, I'll run to the line. I'll give you a short one. I go, give me the ball. Halfback feeds it to the 5'8". 5'8" gives me early ball. Bill, no word of a lie. I step off my left. I step off my right. The guy, he's in La La Land now.
Wow.
I run around him and I score underneath the post.
Yeah.
So, first of all, I shouldn't have done that trash talk, because that's not what my coach was about. he would have been filthy at that. But it didn't just stop there. So all the boys from the opposition team that had their head down, walking back to the post. I've just scored.
Yeah.
I've got the ball in my hand. Now I'm the goal kicker. So the ball in reality stays with me because I need to mount it on a tee and convert the try. So the kid that pointed at me and said, I've got headgear, was walking past me as I've got up after scoring the try, and I get the ball and I slam it in his stomach. And I go, bro, you're a dreamer. You never got me.
Yeah.
So then obviously I've put it on him with words. I then told him what I was going to do to him. I then showed him, run around him, made him look like a fool. And then I've slammed the ball in his stomach. What did that then... What happened after that?
Yeah, no, man.
All in brawl.
Yeah, definitely.
So the guy obviously couldn't take any more of my shit talk, turned around, threw the ball, pegged the ball at my head, and it was all in brawl. Right? I caused that all in brawl. He had every right to be upset.
Yeah.
I'd overstepped the mark.
But look,
Stories like this, I was playing with hatred.
Yeah.
Now, you know the saying how they say talent only gets you so far?
Yeah.
You know, you need the hard work. When my coach had passed, I stopped doing the hard work. I was hurt. I didn't know how to deal with it. I only got as far as I did in my career. It came down to pure talent. But then it came to a point where who are the Dogs going to pick? Or who are the Roosters going to pick?
Yeah.
Right? They were going to pick the guy that was working the hardest. They didn't care who was more talented.
Yeah.
And that's what ultimately ended my career, is I wasn't working hard enough for my dream. So then when my career ended, I was the victim.
Yeah.
And I was blaming people. I didn't make it because of this guy, because of that guy. I didn't make it because of my knee injury. Yeah, they played factors, right? But if I stuck to the true teachings of my mentor, I would have got even closer to my dream.
Yeah. But it's tough, man. It's tough. Like, as you said, you're 14. No one deals with loss at 14. I didn't deal with my loss till I was 18. Like, it's hard. It's your brain's still maturing. You're like, it just comes out of nowhere.
You're not supposed to. You're too young.
Exactly, man. And it's, look, not saying you had the right to do it. Like, obviously, it's not right getting in brawls or whatever. But meant to your defense, it's tough.
It is. It's and it wasn't just on the field. It was excuse me.
Oh, you're right.
It was I also got into an all-in brawl at school.
Yeah.
You know, I was in year 10. That all-in brawl turned into a 2-week suspension from school.
Yeah.
I was on the verge of getting expelled. It was tough. It was tough. It wasn't just tough on the field, off the field. I remember the year he passed. We had under 15s, so he passed away in January. So it was the beginning of our under 15s year.
Yeah.
Our team, we threw our hands up and said, we're not playing this year. We didn't want to play for anyone else. And it wasn't up until last minute that some elders got involved and said, nah, put a team together. So we came back at the last minute. We played. It was never the same, man.
Yeah.
It was never the same. We were never going to do anything. You know, under him, we made 3 grand finals. We'd won 2, one of them undefeated. That year, we were never making a grand final. I ended up, my mum took me to Lebanon that year. I only played 10 games of that year anyway.
Wow.
And, yeah, it wasn't the same without him.
No, that was your man. That was the man in charge. And like again, man, it's tough. It's tough going through what you went through. Now, I want to get to before I get to your playing career, man. You're telling me off camera, man. Like you, as you're saying now, you're masking the pain with violence. You're masking it with footy, even. Like, how did? Obviously, it's gonna boil over. You're gonna spit it out one day. Like, tell us that story of that day where it all came out. It all came out of you, like all that of however long. Because you're saying the story off camera of how you just bursted into tears.
It's tough talking about it.
Yeah.
It's tough.
We can skip.
You know, there's I wasn't a nice person, eh?
Yeah.
When I look back, I actually wasn't a good person. I had a lot of hurt, a lot of hatred. You know, there was even times where I would actually turn on my mentor and blame him for my failures.
Yeah.
You know, saying like, why'd you leave me? You know, if you were here, things would have been better. And Bill, let me make something very clear. If he was still around, I play first grade.
Yeah.
There is no two ways about that. I play first grade if he's around. I can guarantee you now he would have turned from my coach, my mentor. He would have been my player manager. He wouldn't have allowed anyone to come near me. He would have called the shots. He would have rung the clubs. He would have signed the deals. He would have taken complete control over me.
More than footy for you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His presence, no one, I can talk about this on another 55 episodes on podcasts. No one will ever know what he meant to me. So that pain and that hurt I was projecting onto other people. And I wasn't a nice person and I was pushing people away. But I grew up as a popular kid. You know, by 18, I had lost a lot of close friends.
Yeah.
You know how when you leave school, you sort of carry on the same group?
Yeah.
Even if it's for another 2, 3, 5 years, but there's always a group that stick together.
No, for sure.
After my HSC year, mate, even my 2 closest mate, I automatically lost contact with them.
Wow.
And we were called the Three Stooges back at school because we were inseparable. Wherever one went, we all went.
Wow.
To the point where the teachers used to call us the Three Stooges. 18 years old, I lost that friendship, both of them. And that was because of me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't doing good. But going back to that moment, I let myself down. Any failures I've endured have all been my fault. I always used to point the finger. I always used to be the victim. But I think that moment where all that emotion came out, I think that was the day I realised that I screwed up. I had a chance to do something special and I dropped the ball. And that was the day I realised I hadn't only let myself down, but I let my mentor down as well.
Yeah.
Because all his lessons that he taught me along the way, mate, when he passed away, they were all in the bin.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Now, I want to get into your playing career, Joey.
Yeah.
Just give a backstory to who you played for. You know, you as you said, now you're in the junior system. You played SG ball. Just let the people know. Just a bit of a backstory.
Yeah. So like I said, I started playing footy at the age of under 12s.
Yeah.
The following year, so under 13s, was my first rep year. So I made the Bulldogs development squad. Then I made Harold Matthews. Then I made an SG ball, but I was playing upper grade, so I made the SG ball 2 years in a row. Then I had a year at Flegg. That was the year I done my knee. See, and the other thing, like, it's so good seeing Middle Eastern guys representing us on the footy field. Yeah. There's so many of them now,
especially these days.
You know what I mean? You got Karaz, you got Dwayne,
Josh Mansell,
Alex Twal. Mate, there's a bunch of them. There's a guy, he's kicking goals in the Super League, who used to be a Manly winger.
Played for Manly?
Yeah, he played a couple of first grade games for Manly. He's got a beard. Miski.
Oh yeah.
Look him up,
Name's
man.
familiar, yeah.
Mate, he's kicking goals in the Super League.
Yeah.
Back then you didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right, so
You did have Hazem El Masri.
look, well, you had, but Hazem was one of the first ones to come through, bro.
True. Yeah, he
You know
was
what
a
I mean?
pioneer. He really pioneered.
It was very, very rare,
Yeah.
you know, for you to find a Lebo first grader. But even in the junior system, so I remember when development squad, there was about 5-6 Lebos.
Yeah.
Harold Matthews, we had 3 Lebos. SG Ball, there was 2.
Yeah.
My second SG Ball year, just me.
Wow.
Fleg, just me.
What do you think's that?
Right. Look, the selector at the time was very tough.
Yeah.
Very tough. Look, I'm not going to talk about racism.
100%.
I'm not gonna mention any of this stuff, but it was so hard. If your father wasn't an ex-first grader, you know, you basically had Buckley to none in making it. You know, like I remember this selector, and he was the bee's knees. Like, this guy picks you.
Yeah.
Right? His name was Paul Ticehurst. This guy picks you. He's the reason if you to put the Bulldogs jersey on or not. Mate, I remember my brother is very vocal, right? So he's very passionate on the sidelines.
Yeah.
I remember we were at one game, and this incident had nothing to do with him anyway.
Yeah.
So I was playing for St. John's because that was my junior rugby league team. So back then, SG Ball goes for 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Right, so in the pre-season, I trained with the Canterbury. Then we played 10 games at the beginning of the season. So I always missed the first 10 games for my St. John's team.
Okay.
Once the season for SG Ball was over, then you go back and play to your allocated club, which mine was St. John's. I'm playing a St. John's game. The Bulldogs season's finished. There's a brawl in the crowd. Had nothing to do with my brother. It was a guy versus a girl.
Okay.
The guy launches a chair at this girl.
Yeah.
My brother's standing like in proximity of this argument, sticks out his arm, protects this lady from being whacked with the chair.
Yeah.
Right? Gets in the middle to stop this guy from basically DVing this female. Right? A week later, we get a letter from in the mail with the Bulldogs logo on the letter.
Yeah.
Right? So it's come from the Dogs. So my brother assumes, because back then all the correspondence was done via mail.
Yeah.
Right? Because don't forget, no computers yet. Yeah, there's no there's no emails.
Yeah, exactly.
So my brother assumes that it's a Bulldogs letter. It's probably got something to do with my training or whatnot. I open this letter. Dear James Marroun. I go, dude, this letter's not for me, it's for you.
Yeah.
This letter was basically saying, so the incident that happened that weekend, they'd blamed my brother, which had nothing to do with him. Then the letter continues on to say, if you're involved in one more incident, your brother, Joseph Marroun, will be sacked from the Bulldogs team.
Wow.
Now, when you look back at something like that, like let's just say my brother was the instigator in that instance. Let's say he did cause drama. Let's say he wasn't liked by the junior rugby league. Whatever it is. What does my brother got to do with my playing career?
100%.
Why would you put my playing career or my time at the Bulldogs at risk, right? Because of something my brother's doing. It just didn't make sense. And to me, it just seemed like they were looking for an excuse to get rid of the last Lebo.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, times have changed. Things have changed. If you look at the junior Bulldogs team now, mate, you'll find 20 Lebos in the junior squad.
Yeah.
Right? Times have changed and they've come a long way. Now it is based purely on talent.
Yeah.
But back in the day, so hard to make it. So hard.
You're only talking, what, like 20 years?
Yeah.
15 years?
About 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Look, and you're on the cusp of making first grade. 03 was your last year?
So going back to your question, 03 was my last year at the Dogs, and which we had a great team. Yeah. We had Sonny Bill, we had Nate Miles, we had Trent Cutler, we had Matt Lamb, Terry Lamb's son. Yeah. We had Robinson, who was Jeff Robinson's son. Trent Cutler, by the way, was Stan Cutler's son.
Oh, well.
So, like, Stan Cutler, Jeff Robinson, Terry Lamb, these were all guys that were Canterbury greats in the 80s.
Yeah, second generation.
You know, so these were the second generations that were coming through.
Wow.
You know, we had Corey Payne, who ended up playing 150 NRL games. Jared Hickey ended up playing first grade. Cameron Phelps ended up playing first grade. Mate, we had a gun team. 03 was my final year. Then I get a phone call from Michael Habib, who's a very respected man in the rugby league community. Takes me to a team in the Roosters comp called the Paddington Tigers. I go out there and have a cracker of a year, a cracking year. Yeah. We win the grand final. We ended up beating Narrabeen because the Roosters had amalgamated with the Manly and the Souths comp. Yeah. So we used to play all the Souths teams like Coogee, Maroubra. Then we played like all the Manly teams. We ended up winning the comp. Then I have a year at the Roosters in the Jersey Flag system. But again, when you're not a junior, it's hard. Yeah. You know, because you're going up against guys that have played in the Roosters comp their whole life. So I was just like a random kid that come in. I'd showed enough throughout the year to get picked. But again, it goes back to my work ethics. Yeah. You know, I wasn't working hard enough. I just thought being Joey Marroun, scoring tries, hitting holes, you know, pulling off hits was enough. Yeah. You know, but it's not the be-all and end-all. Yeah. You get looked at off the field. You get looked at your punctuality. You know, if you've got training at 6 p.m., do you rock up at 6 or do you rock up at 5:30? Yeah, 5:30. You know, because I can guarantee you if I rocked up at 5:30 and was practicing my goal kicking, for example, before the team got there, the coach, if he saw that, I was one step closer. You know, or if I was working on a technique or on a skill that I was falling short from the game prior, the coach, again, one step closer would get me to my goal. I wasn't doing any of that, bro. Yeah. I just thought, just rock up on game. Bro, even to the point I didn't even like stretching before the game.
Wow. That's as simple as that?
Yeah. I was too worried about gelling my hair. I'd cut my hair the day before game day. Yeah. To make sure I had the fresh fade. There was gel in my bag. Yeah. Right? I would gel my hair and boys used to take the piss out of me. Right? Yeah. But I was that cocky. They were like, oh yeah, look at this muppet. Yeah. You know, gelling his hair before a game. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I just want to look good when I score tries.
It's
like
you weren't focusing on the footy.
Nah.
You're focusing on your looks.
No. I was just worried about who was watching me, who was looking. You know, when you walk out of the sheds after getting geared up, you'd always go to the back of the paddock to do your warm-ups before the game. Yeah. Mate, I used to love that walk through the crowd, getting to wherever we were going to warm up. I just loved being the center of attention. I loved the showboating. I was basically doing things that you'd probably expect from a first grader. Yeah. But I hadn't made it yet. So what are you showboating about?
It's just cockiness.
You know what I mean? It was just very cocky. Yeah. It was a shit mentality. And this is the main reason why I didn't make it.
And then it's not the only you did have that ACL injury that ultimately put a stop to your career.
Look, obviously the ACL didn't help. So let me tell you something. Like, for example, Adam Dewey now he's on his second. Oh,
it's not the be or end.
He's on his second knee surgery. Yeah. But the difference is when like Adam had his first one, he was with the Tigers, right? So they've already invested in him, right? So obviously legally they got to stick by him, but then because he's contracted, right?
Yeah.
So he's got 2-3 years, so it's in their best interest to stick by him. Then the second one comes. Again, he's still contracted to the club.
Yeah.
But when you're 18 years old and you have an ACL injury and there's no contract, no club is going to take you because now you are looked at as used goods because it is perceived that once you have an ACL injury, it's very likely it's going to go again.
Yeah.
So why would a club take a gamble on you and sign you for 4 years?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the ACL definitely put a huge dent in my career. Yeah. And it is like a big reason as to why my career halted. But you know what, Bill? Life's about growing. It's about learning. And it's about being accountable. You know, taking ownership of that situation. I can easily sit here and say, if my knee didn't go, I play first grade. Yeah. I can easily sit here and just say that because at the end of the day, that's my opinion. You can't really measure my opinion because I'm not 18 anymore. There's no way I'm going to play first grade. So I can say what I want. But if I really want to be real with myself, after that ACL injury, if I worked 10 times harder than what I did leading up to that point, there's a big chance I still possibly could have made it.
Man, that's a tough thought.
Look, it hurts, right? It's so easy and it makes you sleep better at night. Yeah. It's so easy to point the finger and say, yeah, it's that. Because I did that for a long time. Yeah, I did. I used to say, yeah, ACL. If the ACL didn't go, I'll make it. That comforted me. But when it's just you and yourself at the end of the day, and you really want to look yourself in the mirror and say, what is the truth? Yeah. There's no one around. There's no cameras, no microphones, no audience. It's just me and myself. When you really want to get to the bottom of it and find out what the truth is, I didn't do the hard work.
But it's got to be tough as a young lad. You know, we're talking about the second generational players, like the players you played with, Sonny, Bill. You played with Hazem El Mazu?
No, so Hazem was a few years older than me. But a story about Hazem. So when I used to goal kick like this. Yeah. The ball was upright. That's how I used to goal kick, and then I used to hit the ball from the belly. Yeah. Right, around the foot. When I was at the Dogs, Halligan was obviously there. Yeah. So there was like every now and then they used to integrate training. We would train with the big boys. Yeah. There was one day I was doing work on my goal kicking and Halligan saw me. Yeah. He actually was the one that transferred me to kicking the ball like this. Well. And hitting the ball from a point. Yeah. So he converted me to that technique. Then when Hazem came in, he worked with me once a month at Belmore Outer. So you got Belmore Sports Ground, then behind it, there's another field. It's called, I don't know if it's still called Belmore Outer, but that's what it was called back then. Once a month, he would spend an hour with me and work on my goal kicking. So then he transferred me. Do you remember the hook? Yeah. That Hazem used to have on the ball? Yeah. So with me, I generally used to just like middle of the post, hit it straight. Yeah. So I used to aim at the black dot.
Didn't have a curvature.
And just hit it straight, no curve. Yeah. Hazem actually taught me to aim at the outside of the right post and come back in.
Swing it back in.
Yeah.
That was a great play. But back to my point, well, the question I was going to get to, how tough was it on a young lad, you know, seeing these boys, like, for instance, like Sonny Bill Williams going to have a stellar career and then, you know, ultimately played for the All Blacks. How hard was it for you in the moment, even today, man, just looking back on that and just seeing what could have been?
It was so hard. I'm not going to talk about Sonny Bill. Yeah. Because if you're going to sit here and say, oh, you know, I watched Sonny Bill play, you know, I used to play with him, You know, it used to devastate me. I couldn't watch him play because I used to play with him. You'd be almost a joke because you're now comparing yourself to Sonny Bill.
Yeah.
Sonny Bill's a superstar. Sonny Bill he's one in a million. You don't get a Sonny Bill every year that debuts. It happens every 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I reckon before Sonny Bill, who would you really say was like burst onto the scene? You know, you'd probably say like not even Thurston.
Yeah.
You know, Thurston didn't. Yeah, there was a bit of talk about him, but Thurston kicked goals at the back end of his career.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won the comp with the Dogs in 04, but he come off the bench.
Yeah, it was 18 years
He
old.
didn't play a pivotal role.
Debut.
But when you talk Sonny Bill, then you talk that Parramatta game that he debuted against and he carved them to bits. He's one of a kind. But when you talk about the other players that played great, it hurt so much.
There was a while where
I actually stopped watching footy.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't watch a Dogs game. Because, and the funny thing was, it wasn't that I played with them 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
It was, I was playing with them the year before. Like literally, I could probably still smell them.
Yeah.
And they were playing grade. And I'm sorry to say, but a few of those guys that made grade, mate, I outplayed them on that pitch every single time. Every single time.
I bet you did. Yeah.
They had nothing on me. They had nothing on me. Not with speed, not with my agility, not with my tackling. If you're playing grade, brother, I should have been there first. That was my mentality.
That's crazy. That's
you know what I mean?
That would burn you like internally.
Killed me.
Like how long was it until you finally healed from that? Like finally got over it?
It took me about 5 years to watch a game.
Wow.
5 years. I didn't watch a game.
That is crazy, man. But look, like it's destiny at the end of the day. It wasn't written in God's plans, you know.
Yeah.
You were saying over the phone one night when we were talking, you was like, if you had to ask yourself at 20 years old, what would you rather, you know, playing first grade or having the life you have now with your family, your kids, you know. There are two major differences, man. It's just, it wasn't written, man. It's
knowing what I know now, you know, and having the wife that I do and who's my best friend and my two girls who are my absolute soul. If you come back, if someone sits right in front of me now and says, look, man, I got this time machine. We can rewind the clock 10 years. I can get you to the age of 28. You can debut. You can have a 50 gamer NRL career, you know. Yeah. But once you have your 50 NRL games, you can't come back to this. What do you want? I'll tell them, mate, shove your 50 games. Shove your $400,000, $500,000 contract a year. Not interested. My girls, my wife, the life I'm living now is priceless. Yeah, priceless. Man. You can't put a tag on it. You can't put a dream on it. If me not playing first grade guaranteed what I've got now at home with my family, then I'm blessed. Yeah.
And look, man, like, put it this way, like if you had played first grade, or like maybe you wouldn't be writing this book. This book that's going to impact many.
Of course.
Even just to my next point, you wouldn't have impacted the boys you impacted, you know,
I'd never would have coached them.
Exactly.
I'll tell you now, I probably never would have married my wife.
Yeah.
It's a different beast. You know, it's like, but even as a junior, right? So I hadn't made grade. And this is where I thank my brother as well, because he was always there, ready to step on my neck. Mate, as a junior, you'll be surprised like how many people that will come up to you and kiss your ass. Oh, Joey, mate, great game. You know, you were amazing. You know, where are you playing next week? Like, they're all over you.
Yeah.
As a junior, right, you're recognised. Mate, my club used to ring me, St. John's, and say, we need you to wear your Canterbury gear. So say I played for the Dogs on a Friday night.
Yeah.
St. John's would want me to go on the Saturday to our home ground. So they'll have like the under 6s on a Saturday morning all the way through to under 12s playing at the one ground.
Yeah.
They'll be like, be at Begnall at 9 a.m. for the first game. Wear your Canterbury gear, so your Canterbury tracksuit, pants, polo top, jacket. Come in your Canterbury gear. Go straight to the canteen, and we want you to help in the canteen. But we want the kids to see you in your Canterbury gear.
Yeah.
And that was my way of like interacting with the young St. John's kids to show them, look, I play for St. John's, but here I am wearing my Canterbury gear. This can be you one day.
Yeah.
So they wanted me to be that positive influence on the younger kids in the club. So I was doing a lot of that. Imagine that on an NRL level.
Yeah, man.
Do you know what I mean? Where it's times 1,000.
Yeah.
Going to lunch or going to dinner, being stopped. Like I've got a few NRL mates now. So when we're out in public, bro, you need to see how many times we get disrupted in the night.
Yeah.
Random people just coming up wanting photos, wanting autographs, wanting just to talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no way I would have the life I have now. There's no way I would be on my path that I'm on now if I played grade. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. Now, man, moving on to, you're talking about St. John's. Now, you coached the under-14s team. They hadn't won a game in 2 years, and you switched that around into a grand final victory, man.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. I was truly inspired by it. You know, we were there last night recording the video for your book.
Yeah.
I sensed the unity with that team, man. It was just something like just witnessing it, just seeing it there. 10 years removed, you feel like these boys were just still that team 10 years ago, man.
Yeah, look.
Tell us that story, that backstory to how that team came to be, how you came to coaching them.
So I was working at Toll at the time.
Yeah.
I'm in Olympic Park in my head office, going on about my day. Phone rings. I pick it up. It's the president of St. John's at the time. His name was George Curry, family friend of ours. Hey, Joey, how are you? Listen, man, we want you to come back to the club. We want you to give back. Yeah. You know, you had a pretty successful career as a St. John's player. You played your rep, whatever. You know, come back, man. We want you back in the club. I go, yeah, George, let me see. I just recently got married. Yeah. I'd been married like 2 years. I go, yeah, let me have a chat to my wife and I'll call you back. I ring Josie. I go to Jose, ABC, what do you reckon? She goes, babe, do what you want. Like, you know, if you feel, and don't forget then, Bill, I was a very angry person. Like I was still in the midst of my anxiety, my depression. I was very broken at that time. Yeah. So my wife sort of looked at it at an angle like maybe this will give this guy some peace. Yeah. Best thing I done. I took on the team. I didn't know who I had. They just wanted me to come back and coach a team. So we didn't discuss who you're going to get, what's their backstory. It wasn't until I got there that Tuesday. So this conversation happened at the end of 2012 for the 2013 season. So February comes along, 2013, and I rock up to training, first training session. So George, the president that had called me to come down, he had left the club. Yeah. Unfortunately, something had happened with his wife's family. He had to go back to New Zealand. So there was a new president there, Joe Farah. I meet him. Yep, you're the coach, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you. Starts giving me a rundown on the team as I'm walking to the team. So I'm walking with these boys. He's next to me. He's going, right, Joey, they're a troubled bunch. They haven't won a game in 2 years. They've had 5 coaches in 2 years. Last year, the coach just up and left halfway through the year. No one wants a bar of him. I go, okay, no worries. I get to the pocket of the park where they're training. There was 7, 8 boys playing touch football on the left. There was 3, 4 boys sitting underneath the goalposts just having a chat. Then there was another 4, 5 over here having a chat, lazing around, rolling around the grass. It was an absolute shambles.
Yeah.
without even saying a word, without even knowing one of their names, I automatically knew what the problem was. I needed to unify these boys. There was teams inside the team. So you got a rugby league team? That rugby league team had 6 other teams in it.
Split in groups, eh?
Into their own sections.
Yeah.
How you ever going to win a game? No wonder you've lost every game for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, and one guy here, he's trying to be a Benji Marshall. Another guy here, yeah, I'm this, I'm that. Trying to do a flick pass. Just your typical teenage boys. Yeah. I sit them down. I talk a bit about myself. So I thought, you know what? Let me tell them where I've come from so they can know, right, this guy's not a flop. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm not a coach, Bill. Yeah. I've never coached. And I was actually scared walking up, thinking, where do I start? What do I do? I just took my mind back to when I was 12 years old, bro. Yeah. I took my mind back to my coach and what he'd done to us from day one. And all I did was do the exact same thing. With that contract, you got the whole thing. It was more than footy, it seemed like, with those boys. Much more. With that relationship. Like you said, with your mentor, it was off the field too, but this was times 13 with that team. So I used my mentor's concept and his strategy, but I had to amplify it. Yeah. Right? So in 96, when he first coached us, right? So you're talking 17-year gap from when I was 12 to when I'm coaching these boys. We weren't as broken as the boys that I had now. Yeah. Don't forget, we didn't have social media. None of us had mobile phones. Yeah. None of us had a computer in 96. None of us had Facebook, had Instagram. We didn't have any of that, right? So I felt, his system, I'm going to try his system, but I had to amplify it because I was dealing with more socio-economic issues than what we had, right? Yeah. It was on a different scale. Like, run us through like what you did. Like, I heard about the spit in the water, the contract, it was to the finer details. That's what I respect about it. So the contract went through. So at the top, our motto was respect, attitude, discipline. Basically what we had with our coach. Yeah. Then I went into a set of rules. There was about 15 rules in this. I don't know them completely off the top of my head. The first one was no spitting. And this is something that I got from my coach. So even to the point, you've seen the footy players, after they score a try, trainer runs out, gives them a bottle, they take a mouthful, wash their mouth, spit it out, right? Even that. I needed to start making them accountable for all their actions. Yeah. I needed them to appreciate what they've got. I needed them to know that playing rugby league on the weekend is a privilege. Yeah. It's not something that is guaranteed for you, right? You should be honoured to play rugby league. Dude, there's kids that can't even go to school in other countries. There's kids that can't get breakfast, lunch and dinner, you know, let alone have the opportunity to play a recreational sport on the weekend. Yeah. So I needed to teach them the amount of water you need to swallow is the amount of water that gets put in your mouth, right? But also in that, it's perception. I needed them to be respected. So how do you get respected as a person, Bill? You need to respect yourself first. Sure. If you don't respect yourself, do not demand respect from anyone else because you ain't getting it. Respecting yourself was the ultimate goal for me. I needed them to respect themselves. What respect are you going to get if an elderly lady sees you walking from the sheds to the ground and you're ripping a golly? Yeah. You're going to be looked at and say, look at this grub, you know? How filthy is that? How disgusting. So that was the reasoning behind the no spitting. The no swearing, it speaks for itself, for sure. Right? Just to have that level, the level of vocabulary where I had to teach them that the F word's just a filler. when you swear, it's just a filler word.
Yeah.
That shows me that you're not educated enough to replace that F word with something else.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So I went from no spitting, no swearing. Then I implemented black pants, black shoes rule. So on game day, you had to wear black pants, black shoes, and a polo top. Yeah. The reason why is because I needed the boys to, again, it goes back to respecting yourself. Then it goes back to how are you perceived by everyone else and the opposition. So if I've got a bunch of boys rocking up in shorts and thongs, right, with their bags and they're drabbing in one by one, right, as a player, if I saw that from my opposition team, I'll look at them and I'll start picking them apart. Yeah. I'll be like, yeah, you know what? I've got these boys' number. This is an easy one today. But when I have 21 boys walking in 2 lines, black shoes, black pants, St. John's polo top, unified, seem as one, a unit. You see so many things other than just boys that look good. Yeah. Automatically, you're demanding respect. Automatically, you're looking like a professional team. Yeah. You're not just backyarders. And there was a side note where I said, if you can't afford black pants and black shoes, you come see me in private and I'll buy those items for you. And I actually ended up buying them for 6 players. Wow. But I can't enforce rules, Bill, and expect families to fork out. Now, it's my rule. Yeah. It's what I'm expecting of them. So I needed to back that up and say, right, if you can't make it happen, I'll make it happen. Yeah. The rules went into their home life, right? So if your mum comes up to me and says, Bill's been a bad boy at home, he's not listening to me, don't worry, I'll fix that. You're not playing this week. Yeah. Respect your mum and your dad. That goes back to our motto, respect, attitude, discipline. Yeah. It's not only respect yourself, it's respect your coach, respect your training staff, respect the opposition, respect your elders, respect your mum, respect your dad, respect your teachers, respect your peers, respect the public. Yeah. You're going on a train from home to school. Respect the people on the platform. Don't be a grub. Yeah. These are the things I was implementing. You receive a detention at school, 1 week suspension. You don't play on Sunday. Playing rugby league is a privilege. Prove to me that you love rugby league, you love the team bonding sessions, you love being a part of something. What are you going to do to be a part of it? Yeah. You can't be a grub and run amok and then be a part of something. It doesn't work.
It never works.
Doesn't work.
And a lot of people watching and listening will say this draws a lot of similarities to the movie Coach Carter. And that's what people were saying along, when it was happening. I was hearing stories that the boys were telling me last night, like people were making those references and like you didn't even know what the movie was.
Yeah, so I was so moving in. So look, I made those changes. I've implemented the contract. The committee of St. John's at the time actually had a real big problem with that contract. Yeah. Which I'm sure we'll probably talk about a bit later on. I tipped this team upside down. For the first 6 weeks, they didn't touch a football. It was all fitness, right? It's fitness that wins games, not your ball skills. They didn't see a footy. So I was pumping them. I had one of my boys, and he was one of my guns, right? You could just tell he was the it player. Walk off on me one day, crying. This is like 3 weeks in. I don't want to do this. Why are you punishing us? Why? I can't breathe. I'm unfit. All for what? For us to lose games? I pull him in. I tell him, bro, hang in there. Give me a chance. Yeah. The season hasn't started. Give me a chance. I go, if we lose our first game, I'll let you leave. Give me a chance to prove myself. Yeah, I'm punishing you on the training paddock. Yeah, you're doing fitness, you're doing tackling drills, you're doing laps, you're doing hills. Every time you drop the ball, you got to do your 10 push-ups. Every time there's a mistake, we all do a mistake. And that's the other thing they didn't understand is if one does a mistake, why are you punishing the team? It's a team sport.
Yeah.
When someone drops a ball in a game, guess what, boys? You are all tackling. It's not the person that dropped the ball has to make the next 6 tackles.
Yeah.
When one person makes a mistake, the whole team is put under pressure.
Yeah.
So I tipped that place upside down.
Oh, you did, man. You won a grand final.
And 5 games in, so we won our first 5 games, and that's when the Coach Carter started getting thrown around. And I go, man, what's Coach Carter? So you're talking 2013. Oh, yeah, here comes Coach Carter. Like some of them were like impressed, saying it in a way like, wow, like,
it's a compliment.
It's, compliment. And there's some they'll take in the piss like, oh, here comes Coach Carter. Like, yeah bro, whatever, yeah. And I kept going, man, what's Coach Carter? Oh, yeah, like you haven't watched the movie. I'm going, dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They go, oh, go watch the movie and tell me it's not what you're doing with these boys. I go home that night. So this is now 5 wins from 5. I jump on, download the movie. I watch Coach Carter. This bloke is like coming in, broken boys, doing their own thing, team within a team, draws up a contract. In the contract, talks about, dress code. So he, in the movie, makes them wear a button-up shirt and a tie.
Bro, that's crazy, man.
Right? But then he goes to the extent where he wants them to have a 2.3 GPA, which in America, it's like an average score in all of your subjects. Yeah. Now, I didn't want them to be Albert Einsteins in class. I just wanted them, don't cause trouble. Don't get in trouble. Don't get a detention. Don't disrupt your classes. Don't be a smartass to your teacher. That was my basis around school. It wasn't you have to get straight A's or whatever. Anyway, I watched the movie. I'm like, dude, this is exactly what I'm doing.
That is crazy, man.
Right? So then I had to do my research because I'm like, everyone's going to think I've copied the movie.
Yeah.
But one thing people don't understand is that movie was made in 2005. Right? So filmed in 2005 and released. I replicated this system from my coach in 1996.
Yeah.
That's all I did. It's not my system.
That was the blueprint.
That's the blueprint from 1996.
Yeah.
So tell me, how was I copying the movie Coach Carter if I'm replicating something that was given to me 9 years before that movie was even made?
Coach Carter copied you. Copied
Coach Carter
system that was implemented at the time.
Coach Carter copied my mentor.
Yes.
And what he had done.
That is crazy, man, how life works. I swear to God, like you wouldn't ever notice it.
No.
And you were just not copying the movie. I'm just
doing what I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm doing what I know. And it's, again, let me make a disclaimer here. I'm not taking ownership of this system.
Yeah.
I'm not taking ownership and saying I created this. I'm not saying I'm a super coach, the master coach. I'm not saying I'm a Wayne Bennett. I'm not saying I'm a Bellamy. But then it's a blueprint. Like if you listen to how first graders and ex-first graders talk about Wayne Bennett, and I actually heard Corey Parker talking about Wayne Bennett just on the weekend.
Yeah.
And they're saying, why do players step up a gear for Wayne Bennett? And Corey Parker's exact response was, because Wayne Bennett shows an interest in their private life.
Yeah, well.
He doesn't just talk footy with them. He doesn't just slug them or punish them on the field.
It's like you'd want to play for him.
He takes an interest in their private life. And that's what I did with my boys.
Yeah.
And it works on a junior level, right, on the footy field. It works on the rep level, and it works at NRL level. At the end of the day, the NRL boys are human. They're not robots, right? Yeah. How do you get the best out of a human? Show interest in them.
That emotional side.
Show them love.
Yeah.
Show them that you care. These boys I took had never been showed that anyone cared for him.
Yeah.
Not from any coach. That's why you can lose 2 years in a row and not win a game.
Yeah.
No one showed anything.
Yeah.
I've come in there and made them a promise. Day one at training, I said to them, listen to me, you will win the grand final this year. That was said at day one of training.
That was, we'll get into that manifestation.
Yeah.
One of the boys was telling me yesterday, you're basically saying it was manifestation without saying it was like you're manifesting it into reality.
It's funny how, because in my book I talk about manifestation, but manifestation came into my life like 3 years ago.
That was just a term.
Manifestation came into my life 3 years ago. I've been manifesting. I've known about manifesting since 1996 as a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That's what my mentor taught me. But my mentor never used the word manifestation.
Yeah.
I got photos of my boys in 2013 holding up a piece of paper. That's it. This photo is in my book. I got 20 boys writing, I got like 14 boys holding the words I am. And then I had like 6, 7 boys. Well, we'll get ridiculed here online. LEGENDS.
Yeah.
Legends. 7 boys were sitting at the front with the letters that contain the word legends.
Wow.
I am legends. These are things I was implementing, right, during the year, and not once I used the word manifestation. 2 weeks before the grand final, we hadn't even made the grand final. I got my boys every night. They had to go home, their homework, 10 times a night, right, for 2 weeks straight. We are the premiers.
Wow.
They wrote it 10 times every night leading up to the grand final, and we hadn't even made the grand final. We had a semi-final that week.
Yeah.
And they were writing, we are the premiers before that semi-final game.
You should have known. Oh, yeah, that's it. You're making it by then. That's it.
Do you know what I mean?
Still.
So I was manifesting with them.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what the word meant back then.
Oh, that's crazy.
It wasn't until I started working on myself with my self-growth and my new path, I started hearing this word. I started educating myself. I started reading up on it. And that's when I realized I've been doing this for a long time.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, I want to talk about your departure from the club. 2 years undefeated, bring this broken team to glory, basically winning that grand final, impacted them on the field, off the field, man. Talk us through that departure. Like, how was there a falling out?
Look, unfortunately, when you're doing good things, that's when the devil comes to play. It's like they say, when you're off track, whether you're doing drugs, you're doing all the wrong things, you feel at ease for some reason, they say, because you feel like you're not getting attacked. Well, you're not getting attacked. It's because that's what the devil wants you to do. He wants you to be living off the track. He wants you to be, drugs, gambling, prostitutes, drinking, whatever comes with it. You feel like, you live your life mundane and it's repetitive and you just stick to yourself. You don't really feel the attacks. It's because you're doing what old mate wants.
Yeah.
But try live a righteous path. Try walk the straight line. Try do the right things. Yeah. When you're walking that straight path, mate, you'll feel the attacks.
Yeah.
The devil comes 10 times harder at you because he's thinking, look at this guy. He's walking the path of Christ. He's doing all the right things. He's saying all the right things. How can I get to him? And bang, the hits come, Bill.
Yeah.
The hits come. And the hits were coming. The hits were coming straight from the start. They didn't like my coaching style. I was too direct for them. I was too firm. Mate, you could hear me. You're talking 20 different age groups.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be 2, 3 under 6s, under 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, all the way through to A grade, covering the whole park. Come to one of my training sessions. I promise you, the only voice you hear is Joey Marroun. Get down and do 10.
Yeah.
What are you doing here? What are you doing? My voice, mate, it was just ringing. I was pumping these boys, right? They didn't like my style. When my contract came out, don't forget, I've never coached. So I don't know the procedure.
Yeah.
I don't know the steps you got to go through. So apparently, before I gave out this contract to the boys, and don't forget, I got to let everyone know, it wasn't like I got these underage kids to sign a contract.
Yeah.
There was a place there for them to sign it because I needed to make them accountable. But right next to them was a parent or guardian signature. So mum and dad or guardian needed to know that their son was signing this document. It wasn't like it was just between me and 13-year-old boys. So all the parents were on board. But there was one parent that wasn't. And this one parent was the inside snitch.
Wow.
So every time I done something with the boys, bang, it will get given to this one particular person that was in the committee. And who was this one particular person? It was a jealous person.
Yeah.
Right? It was someone that wasn't happy within their own life. It was someone that had a lot of money. Let me tell you, very rich person. Very rich. But let me tell you, Bill, for everyone out there that thinks money makes you happy, stop chasing the dollar. If you're chasing the dollar because you think that's going to bring you happiness, let me tell you, I'll name you 10 people now that are millionaires that live the most unhappiest life. Because money, possessions, houses, cars, labels, Louis Vuittons, Burberrys, Gucci's, that does not bring you happiness.
Yeah.
This person was a multi-millionaire. He had the best of the best. He had everything. Unhappy and broken. Saw what I was doing with these kids, because what I was doing with these kids, no dollar value can be put on it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Having a 24-year-old that I used to coach sit opposite me and say, Joey, you have changed my life till today.
That's the greatest feeling.
Till today, you impact my life. I coached you 10 years ago when you were 13. You're now 24 years old, and you're saying those words to me. What check can you write me, Bill, that will replicate that feeling I'm getting right now? No check.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I had this broken person that was in the committee, and he would go back to the other committee members, and again, their purpose was lost.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to know their purpose in life. These people thought they were exactly like some politicians. Not all politicians. There's some good politicians out there. This committee was like certain politicians. Well, you know how they say politicians think that the people are there to serve them, not them serve the people.
Yeah.
This committee thought, right, whether they had shit-kicking jobs on the side from Monday to Friday, and they had this power trip on Tuesday, Thursday nights, and Saturday, Sunday game day. They were all on a power trip. Something was missing in their life where they thought, you know what? This is the one moment in the week I get to be someone. So who can we pick on? It's Joey Marroun and his team. So this gentleman, I get called in. I write this contract bill. We've already gone through the contract. Yeah. What's in the contract? No spitting, no swearing, be good to your mum, be good to your dad, be good at school, behave, top button done up, shirt always tucked in, always represent yourself, always respect yourself. What have I said that was so wrong in the contract? You know what I got from the club? Right? And it's not the club, it's this committee. Because just as a disclaimer, I'm now, after 11 years, I'm now back part of the club. The club I love. The club runs through my blood, St. John's. Runs through my blood. This committee, unfortunately, lost sight of what their purpose really was. Yeah. They call me in for a meeting to say, what's this contract? Been brought to our attention. So obviously this one parent, right, that's actually, mind you, signed the contract. Signed the contract and gave it to me. So he handed it in, wanted his son to be a part of what I was doing, but gave the contract to the club, had a bit of a whinge, The club ran with it. What's this contract? You didn't submit it to us. We're meant to approve this before you hand it out. You're not allowed to do this. And I'm like, boys, girls, relax. Bro, they sat me in like a kangaroo court.
Wow.
They had me on one chair facing 10 chairs.
No way, to
Like
that extent.
Man, it was like I was on trial. And I'm like, dude, is this seriously happening now? What did I do? And I said to him, show me the contract. Maybe I thought, maybe someone amended it. Maybe someone stitched me up. I read the contract. I go, please show me somewhere here on the paper where you don't agree with what I've written and what I'm expecting from these boys. What's the big deal?
It's not like you're telling them to do anything bad.
No, I'm not telling you.
You're actually doing the opposite.
I'm not telling you start a drug run, hit your mum.
Yeah.
You know, don't eat your food, don't eat your greens. Dude, read the contract. What am I saying that's so wrong? That's when I knew I was going to have an issue with these people. I spent so much money on these boys, Bill. It was never about money.
Yeah.
And let's make another thing clear. Go to every junior club and to every team in the Canterbury district. Let's not talk the whole state.
Yeah.
Let's talk the Canterbury district. Go to Greenacre Tigers, go to Milpera Colts, go to Moorebank Rams, go to St. John's Eagles, go to whichever club you want. Go to from under 6s all the way to under 16s. I promise you, the coach of every single one of those clubs and age groups will have a son that's in that team.
Yeah.
100%. I guarantee you that. There'll be a coach there coaching his son. Ask me who was related to me in that team. Zero. I didn't have a son. I didn't have a nephew, a cousin, a brother, no one. No one was related to me in that team. I was your true definition of a volunteer. I was there purely for the love of the game and the love of those boys. And all I had was pushback from this club. To the point, there was one day, there was a washout. It was raining heavily. They closed Punchbowl Park. What do? I ring my insurance broker because I'm now in the building game.
Yeah.
I ask him, I coach a team. There's 21 boys. I want to move training. The park's closed. I can't afford for them to have a day off. I need to full steam ahead. I want to take them to a park near my parents' house. How can I do this? He goes, give me 5 minutes. Rings me back, comes up with some indemnity insurance policy. He says, right, this will cover you for 4 hours. When are you starting training? When are you finishing? Yeah. I told him run it from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., but we'll definitely be done way before 8 p.m. I paid $750 bill for this insurance policy.
Wow.
Just so my boys can train for an hour and a half.
That's what you're raising up now. It's more than the money. It was, getting that training drill done.
For one training session.
Yeah.
How can I ask these boys to buy into my system if I'm not going to show them that I'm willing to do everything to be able to give them the system?
And it was all taken away from you.
Taken away. That. So that training session, I get one of these clowns that was on the committee, breaking rules, speeding, sped into the car park, parked over like 4 car spots, like he was raiding, some drug dealer. Jumps out of the car, stop the training session, stop the training session. What the F are you doing? What? I go, whoa. Don't you dare swear in front of my boys. They're not allowed to swear. What makes you think you got the right to come into my training and swear in front of them? What is your problem? You're not allowed to train here. We don't have insurance. Here you go, brother.
Yeah.
My boys are insured. Now get the fuck off my training park.
That must have been so degrading for himself.
He had nothing to say.
Yeah, man.
He had nothing to say. He walked back with his towel between his legs, jumped back into his Range Rover, his $100,000 car, and drove off.
Wow.
They just had a vendetta against us the whole year. We win the comp. I start the following year. The following year, so for whoever doesn't know, St. John's so under 15s is a special year. Under 15s, they call it first 13s. Yeah. So back in 1954, the first ever St. John's team was an under 15s team.
Okay. Yeah, well.
1954.
Yeah.
Right? So they've made it a tradition now that every under 15 team they get their own jersey. So it's different to all the other teams, all the other age divisions in the St. John's Club. It's a different kit. You go on a camp. You're just given special treatment that year. It's a big year. I played under 13s as a player. And they said to me, you're not guaranteed to be their coach next year. You need to resubmit.
Wow.
And I looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? These boys haven't won a game in 2 years. I come in and they became like my little brothers, Bill. Yeah. It was no longer coach and player. I was their mentor. I changed their life. Yeah. For you guys to come in and say, there's a possibility you're not going to be the coach.
What have I done wrong?
They just didn't like me, bro. They didn't want me.
It's like getting rid of, for instance, Ivan Cleary after winning 3 in a row, saying, mate, sorry, man, 2024 season, you're out.
I wouldn't say I'm Ivan Cleary, but I know what point you're trying to make.
Like to that extent, like successful club that won a premiership, getting
it was an absolute joke. And luckily the parents chucked up a stink and said, if he is not the coach, we are not playing.
As even the parents impacted.
The parents, are you serious?
Yeah.
I had teachers, and this was the parents telling me these stories, by the way. I had teachers at parent interview night, the parent-teacher interview night, sit like this. So teacher here, parent there. What's changed in Andrew's life? He doesn't disrupt my class. He always asks me if I need help with my books to the staff room. If he sees me go into my car, he helps me with my bags. His shirt is always tucked in. His top button's always done up. He has not received the detention this whole term. What's changed in his life? That conversation happened with 4 different sets of parents, and 4 different sets of parents said it's his footy coach.
Man, that's deep. Just last night, hearing the stories, we're doing those interviews with the boys, how much, they have been impacted by you, Joey. Like, now I want to switch the question on you. How much of an impact has the boys had on your life, even going forward to today?
Did you have to ask that one?
I know, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. Just for the viewers.
So
yeah, it's all right.
Bill sprung this question on me last night.
Yeah.
For my promotional video.
A lot of emotions were, high in that. The emotions were high in that room.
They were high, and I burst out into tears. I didn't think you were going to ask this.
We'll skip it, man. We'll skip it.
No, it's all right.
No, we'll move on, man. We'll move on.
Right.
No, we'll move on. You don't have to answer it. I just thought I'd ask it in front of the viewers.
Yeah.
But
No, let me answer it. I'll answer it.
You sure? I'll move on.
The tears were done last night.
Yeah.
It's just, it means this question, like, you're a great interviewer, let me tell you.
No, thanks, Joey.
Crack a question last night, you got me. You sprung on me, and
man, I don't want you to. If you're not comfortable, man, we'll move on. 100%.
Because it's not about me, bro. See, everyone's always talking about me and super coach and you done this and you're amazing and whatever. Man, these boys, some of them that were there last night know, because obviously I answered the question. Mate, they done a lot of healing for me. They saved me, bro.
Yeah.
Because as a coach at that time, I was actually broken, but they didn't know it. And obviously I couldn't show them that I was broken, is because how can I get you to believe in a system if the person that's preaching the system is broken himself? You're not going to buy into it.
Yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So I had to front up and mask my pain and my emotions and what I was battling myself. I had to bottle that up for a year. Because I had to show these boys that I had my shit together. Because if they're going to follow me and the blueprint that I've outlined for them, they need to believe in me as a person first. Before the blueprint.
Yeah.
You buy into a person, not a company. People follow people.
Yeah.
not companies. So, like for example, if you go to Twitter and type in Tesla, right? Tesla has X amount of followers. Call it 1 million followers. Yeah. Type in Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk will have 10 million followers. People follow people. So if I'm broken as a person, right, and I'm telling these boys to believing something, it's not going to work. Because they're going to look at me first before the system.
Yeah.
So I needed to portray that I was good. So the difference now, the youth that I want to impact in today, why it's different is because I'm not broken anymore.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm healed. I'm ready to impact youth and say, this is what you need to do if you want to succeed. It happened with me as a teenager, right? I then changed the lives of these teenagers. And don't forget, I haven't mentioned this. So the year after my coaching career ended, after a year, one of the parents was coaching 2 of his sons' teams, an under 10s and an under 15s or under 12s. He implemented a similar strategy to what I was doing, won 2 grand finals.
Wow.
Both his boys.
No way. So, wow, man. I didn't
The
know
system works.
that. 100% works. You made it evident, and just, I didn't know about that. Like,
Yeah.
you're implementing your, like, not,
A parent, obviously he wouldn't have had my same style, but he's used the basic outline of what I expected from my boys. The no spitting, the no swearing, the punishments, how to train. Don't touch a football.
Yeah.
The football doesn't win you games. Defense does. Right? Won 2 grand finals in 1 year with 2 different sons, 2 different age groups. Yeah. It works.
There has to be a name for this system.
It works. Well, the system's in my book. And you want to succeed, whether you're a coach and you got boys that you want to help improve, whether it's a teenager buying my book that wants to improve themselves, it's in the book. If you follow what I've got in the book, right, you've got no choice. It works. You will succeed.
And what I like about the book is that it details everything. Like for a teenager growing up, it will showcase the stories you've been saying, you've been telling us on this podcast, and even it dabbles into that mindset sort of thing, like the law of attraction, the manifestation, the 369 rule, which I'm starting to implement from the podcast you've done previously. You know, it's even in that way for like your everyday reader, everyday listener. You know, I know for a fact, Joe, I've told you this behind the scenes. This book is going to impact many, man, and I truly mean that.
I hope so.
It will, man.
So. Look, I didn't write this book for sales.
No.
It was never to make money from it.
Yeah.
But the more I go on this journey, the more I feel that this book is going to do something. And I can't wait.
Man, that'll be greater, as you said. It's all about the money, man. Like, you know, money's great, but like if you have money or like a group of teenagers that are actually impacted by the group, I know for a fact, Joy, you're picking that group of teenagers.
100%. Like, imagine seeing, and especially seeing a kid that's not yours. This is what people don't understand. A lot of parents obviously just concentrate on their kid.
Yeah.
Right? Try working with someone else's kid. See them grow and evolve.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying. It is so satisfying.
Greatest feeling in the
world. And why is it satisfying? Is because it's not expected of me. No one is sitting here saying, oh, where's Joey Marroun, bro? Come help my son. Come help my daughter. It's not expected of me.
No.
It's perceived as the parent's job. There's nothing wrong with a parent saying, Joey, come help me.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, I'm not saying I'm a better parent. I'm not saying I know how to raise a kid better than you. It's got nothing to do with that.
Huh.
That was one of my challenges when I was coaching. I had a particular dad think I was trying to take his son away from him, or he thought I was trying to undermine, you know, his disciplinary actions at home. Right? It's got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
If anything, I'm reinforcing what you want at home.
It's you're doing
And
good.
unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever way you look at it, it's okay if your kid chooses someone else as a mentor. It's okay. It doesn't mean that, he doesn't love me as a father or he doesn't love his mum. Doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
It just means that we all have a job role.
Yeah.
Right? And what's wrong with a mum ringing me like they used to do and say, please speak to blah, blah. He's not listening to me. I'll get on that phone. 1 second. I heard you don't want to play this Sunday.
Yeah.
That's what your mum's telling me. No, I didn't say that. No, well, that's what she's telling me because apparently you're not listening to her. Get up, do what she wants. Or you can sit on the bench with me on Sunday.
Yeah.
Half a second. I'll get a text. Thank you, Joey, so much. He done what I needed him to do.
Yeah, no. Man, that's the greatest feeling.
It just, when you give control, just a portion, not their whole life, just give a portion of their life, put that into the hands of someone else, watch the changes, bro. Watch the changes. Take that pressure off yourself. Don't forget, a parent, what have they been doing to us our whole life? Pumping us.
Yeah.
Don't do this, do that. Don't wear this, wear that. You know you can't do this. No, you can't do that. You can't go here, you can't go there. So we've been the disciplinarian parent our whole life. When they grow a bit older, you want to come and start saying, hey, Dad, you want to start giving them advice. A teenager struggles to differentiate advice from disciplinary action. Advice or being told off. Advice or getting told what to do. They struggle to differentiate because our whole life we've been this one particular way. Then overnight you want to flick the switch and start being their best friend. You can't be both.
Yeah.
You can't be both. Me trying to make a kid accountable and a father trying to make his kid accountable, I'll tell you now, majority of the time, I'll get a better result.
Yeah.
Even for me, when my daughter grows up, I want her to have a mentor.
Yeah.
And it might not be me, it might not be her mum. But a mentor will be able to hold her accountable more than what I would.
Yeah.
That's just how I think it works.
Nah, man, like with this book, especially, like aside from family, that's the greatest accomplishment for a fact. 100%. But this is a combination of all the stories you've been saying, plus it's a story that's yet to be finished because you're going to impact thousands, if not millions, of young kids growing up. So, like, in my opinion, I see it as this is massive for you, man.
Well, let me tell you, it's not. My book won't stop here.
Nah.
I've already started on a second book.
Yeah, well.
And this one it's deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one is see, obviously Beyond Limits is a self-help book. I want it to reach as many teenagers. I want them to know the blueprint and know what you need to do to succeed.
Yeah.
But because the book healed me, I needed to go again.
The story's not finished.
It's not.
Nah, man, that's what I respect about you, man. Just the mindset you have, the story you have. Man, I can't wait to read this book. Guys, stay tuned. Beyond Limits, Unlock Your Potential is coming out very soon. So stay tuned. It'll be a great read for a lot of you teenagers watching too, and even your adults. So stay, Joey. It's always a pleasure having you on, man.
Thank you for having me, my friend.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks, guys.
Any last words for the viewers?
Nah, man. Just remember self-worth.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to say. Whether you're a teenager, whether you're 50 years old, whether you're 100 years old, self-worth, self-love.
Yeah.
Love yourself. Put yourself first. We've our whole life we've always been told that the word selfish is a negative word. It's got this negative connotation to it. Being selfish is not negative. Be selfish, love yourself, put yourself first, and the rest will follow.
Again, guys, Beyond Limits, Unlock Your Potential. Joey's links are going to be in the description below. Make sure you go follow him and stay tuned, guys. If you're new here, hit the like button, hit subscribe, comment down below, and catch you guys later. Beautiful, Joey. Thanks for coming on, man.